And then this is something I had to get to today because it's so weird. In fact, this ought to be on the nightly news. In fact, I'm going to shoot something on the nightly news about this. Alien bugs discovered in Earth's atmosphere. And this did not come to us from the Planet Pop-Tart website. This came to us from Sky News, or the Fox News of the UK. British scientists believe they found small bugs from outer space in Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, they found like in mine shafts and stuff too, things that they didn't know were of this world before. Tiny organisms were discovered by the University of Sheffield. Experts on a research balloon, they sent 27 kilometers into the atmosphere. I remember when the guy jumped from several miles or whatever, the highest jump in the spacesuit from a balloon. I mean, it's just so amazing. The microscopic bugs were detected when the balloon landed back on the ground in Wakefield, West Yorkshire. But the scientists insist the samples could not have been carried from Earth's surface into the stratosphere, the second layer of the atmosphere, which stretches 50 kilometers or 31 miles from the ground up into the atmosphere. And, folks, this has never been found before, whatever these things are. So this is a big deal. We can punch it up on screen. Yeah, there you go. Really, really amazing science fiction stuff. Look at this little creature. The fragment of an organism was also found, scientists say. Just amazing. We are certainly in the middle of an amazing creation. But the system wants to shackle us and kind of keep us in their own little artificial paradigm. Their full spectrum dominance, their silent weapons for quiet wars, soft kill system. And fighting that valiantly is the Health Ranger. Joining us here in studio, Mike Adams of naturalnews.com, because I wanted to get him on last week. So he's here for that at the bottom of the hour. This story from naturalnews.com, 10 outrageous, and I'm going to tweet it in a minute at Real Alex Jones, 10 outrageous but true facts about vaccines the CDC and the vaccine industry don't want you to know about. This is so useful because just like I get callers that are asking me if vaccines are bad, there are a lot of people don't know what's going on. Just because you know that the inserts say it can kill you, just because you know it's causing an epidemic of neurological disorders, you know, mainline Harvard studies, just because you're informed, your neighbors aren't informed. You need to inform them right now with tools like this. So I'm going to tweet it while Mike's talking, and I want you to retweet it from Real Alex Jones in just a moment when I do this. But Mike, before we get into that, the shooting at the Navy Yard, the gangland shooting in Chicago, all these are done in gun-free zones. As usual, psychotropic drugs are involved. Break down, from all your research, exactly what we're facing.
Well, Alex, thanks for having me back on the show.
It's
an honor to be here again. I've been kind of out of the loop for a little while, working in the lab. You know, I'm doing this forensic food lab. There's a lot of news coming out later this year.
Very exciting.
With you, I brought this table of elements in here today to show you. Obviously, your radio listeners can't see it, but we'll describe what we're seeing. This helps to explain why psychiatric drugs are so toxic to the human brain. You know, brain chemistry is directly interfered with by SSRIs. That's what SSRI stands for, is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And serotonin obviously is one of the very important brain chemicals that gives you normal balance. And that's why in almost every case, these shooters are saying, I felt like I was in a video game. And this shooter in the Navy Yard, he was a video game addict, right? And they say, I felt a sense of detachment. And the Columbine shootings in Colorado, those two shooters had the same kind of description. They feel like they're in a video game. They're not in their own real mind. This element, fluorine, on the table of elements that I brought here, it helps explain why this is the case. Fluorine is in the 7th column of the table of elements if you break it down to just the 8-column model without the transition metals here. Why that's important, and I'm not going to get too technical, but from a chemistry perspective, fluorine has 7 electron clouds in its outer orbital, so it's lacking 1 electron. It wants to steal electrons from other elements. So if it gets near anything else, including chemicals in your brain, normal healthy brain chemicals like serotonin, if it is unbound from the molecule that it's attached to in the pharmaceutical, such as the psychiatric drugs, it will start to ravage other chemicals in your brain and in your body. This is why fluoride kills insects, and it's such an effective insecticide. This is why fluoride causes bone cancer when it's added to water as fluorosilicic acid. Fluorine is represented in psychiatric drugs at the level of about 14% according to atomic mass. So if you break out all the elements and weigh them, fluorine is about 14%. And yet it is one of the most wide-ranging reactive industrial chemicals in human civilization.
And they've known this for hundreds of years, and that's what Dr. Blaylock talks about. It also supercharges everything else they're putting in us.
Exactly.
It's the master chemical weapon supercharger.
Exactly. And your term supercharging segues us into vaccines, because the CDC openly admits that at least 5 chemicals or elements are still being used in vaccines. And today we're going to talk about the aluminum that's still used in them, mercury is still used in them, MSG, yes, monosodium glutamate, a neurotoxin that you've had Dr. Blaylock.
Because it's an excitotoxin.
It's an excitotoxin. It is used in vaccines to, quote, supercharge the vaccine as an adjuvant.
Now, let's stop one place, because, I mean, you talk a lot about iodine, and every medical doctor I talk to,
yes,
more and more are saying this is the key to everything. Notice in the same area of the table here, you've got iodine that your body needs, so they take that out of the food,
right,
out of the salt, what you actually need, to replace it with something that goes into the thyroid instead. I mean, they know exactly what they're doing, and when they try to make babies drink fluoride, they are literally trying to savage their brain.
You're very observant. You're exactly right on. If you move down a column of the table of elements, and this is considered the 7th orbital column, you have fluoride, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. These tend to interfere with each other or compete for absorption or attachment throughout human physiology. So when you're drinking fluoride, your body's not able to get the iodine that it needs in the right places, such as breast tissue, prostate tissue. This is one of the reasons why so many women have breast cancer today, because fluoride or even chlorine that they're getting from tap water, both of those are in tap water, are interfering with iodine absorption. So if you move down a column of the table of elements, you can actually discern a lot of interesting information.
I finally started listening to everybody about 6 months ago and started making myself take the nascent iodine and the Southern Hemisphere brown seaweed, and it is like a drug. I'm even more crazed now.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Watch out, world. Well, you need to get, I think, I would recommend Dr. Brownstein, David Brownstein.
We're getting him on next week. It's funny you said that.
Good, good. He is the best expert that I know of iodine. And he has studied it extensively, and he recommends that the level of iodine people should take is literally, if memory serves me correctly, 100 times to 1,000 times higher than what the government recommends, which is not surprising because the government wants everybody nutritionally depleted. But iodine, nascent iodine, in my opinion, I don't manufacture the product. This is a third-party opinion. Nascent iodine is one of the most miraculous life-saving supplements that our society needs, especially landlocked Americans, because we're not getting the seafood.
Well, that's why the Japanese live so much longer.
They tend to have much lower rates of breast cancer until they move to America. And there have been really good clinical studies on this. Once they move to America and start eating the American diet,
they're dead.
They get the same rates of breast cancer as American women. So what's changed? Their foods, their diets. But at the same time, you got to be really careful about the sources of seaweed you're getting. Make sure you're getting good quality sources. So a standalone iodine supplement is ideal to give you the iodine just when you need it.
Now, you recommended the monofilament we sell. That's good, right?
Yes.
That's from Southern Hemisphere, and you've tested it. Because that's what my wife really loves. She says this. I guess the other cofactors in the seaweed are helping?
Yeah, there's a lot in that seaweed. It's a brown seaweed extract.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back to get into the vaccines with Mike Adams. Stay with us.
The Alex Jones channel is the official page of the Info War. But don't miss what's happening on our other channels. The Info Warrior, with the week's best videos. Prison Planet Live, where Paul Joseph Watson gives his expert analysis. And keep up with the rest of the Info Wars crew on our other pages. All of our videos are available to repost for educational purposes. See the sidebar of the Alex Jones channel for the subscription links. And remember, you can always find our videos in the highest quality by becoming a member of PrisonPlanet.tv.
Mike, this is a short segment, long segment coming up to get into a ton of news, stuff you've broken on the TED conference. You've got a video here we're going to play a clip of that's up on naturalnews.com. We just posted it to Infowars.com with your Organic Spy series inside Whole Foods. But you were just mentioning, man, we're starting to win on so many fronts. I'm seeing a giant awakening. 91% against the cereal war. The mainstream media dying, the alternative media becoming the dominant media. But this is a big responsibility, though.
Yes.
So, I mean, talk about the awakening. You were just talking about it.
Well, I was saying to you during the break, we're winning on so many levels. It is astonishing. Right now on the scientific front, we are getting the real scientific principles out there that are going to save humanity. The precautionary principle, when we talk about GMOs, for example, we are exposing the fact that mercury, one of the most toxic elements in the table of elements, is still injected into babies and children intentionally by doctors, and that should be a crime against humanity. Every doctor that injects a child with mercury should have their license revoked, and they should be arrested and charged with a crime. In my opinion, obviously, and probably in yours as well. We are winning on so many fronts. We wait until October 1 comes around, Alex, because the Obamacare exchanges are a disaster waiting to happen. I think today Congress actually voted to defund Obamacare, which is a partial victory in the House. It may not survive the Senate, of course, but once it's rolled out and people realize that that IT system doesn't work, there's going to be even more calls for Obamacare to be defunded or radically reformed or even revoked. People all across the country are losing their jobs, losing hours, losing they're having full-time jobs switched to part-time jobs. They're being kicked off healthcare plans from companies like Trader Joe's. SeaWorld even did the same thing. It's happening all across the country. The fact is that the truth is coming out, and it's due to organizations like yours, Infowars, and I'm contributing to it, many others. You have some new people here who are contributing to it in very substantial ways. We are winning because the truth cannot be hidden forever. We're winning because the people desire the knowledge that can transform them and give them the kind of freedom that America was founded on. So all of these corporations that are committing these terrible evils, that are harming our children with vaccines, that are poisoning our population with drugs, all of these tyrants, like, in my opinion, Feinstein, who is an anti-constitutional traitor to the United States, traitor to the people, all of these people are being exposed. The truth is coming out, and it cannot be stopped. Even if they manage to stop you or me personally, there are many other people who are ready to continue to carry that torch forward, tell the truth, have websites, conduct activism. This whole movement, Alex, is decentralized. So there's not even really one place that they can go and stop the truth from coming out. The internet is by nature decentralized.
And that's always been my goal, is to get as many people awake and active. That's why I've never been in competition with all the other media people and alternative media. So many of them think it's about shutting down their competition, not understanding it's about empowering and getting more people involved. This is a life and death situation. That's what's been so great about your work, Mike, is working with everybody together positively to really try to give the globalists a run for their money. And we're doing it now. Yeah. And look at Cass Sunstein at the White House. He said their #1 goal is to get us to infight. That's why they're launching the armies of trolls right now. But it's not working. Yeah, it's not working.
It's not working, but we also have very strong evidence, lots of evidence. The trolls specifically target us. They spread disinformation. You know, this is old news. But what we're seeing now are more advanced linguistic patterns. So we now believe that these systems that, for example, drug companies hire anti-PR firms that run thousands of bots that are initiated through zombie-controlled computers using a multitude of IP addresses all across the country.
And you're a top programmer. But I mean, this is all admitted, though.
I'm a software developer.
This is all admitted, though, too.
Yes. No, I develop word algorithms as part of the science.natural news whole system. I wrote those algorithms, so I understand parsing language. So what we're seeing is that there's new language appearing by the trolls that appears to be automatically generated. It's algorithmically generated. So for those out there listening right now, if you see negative comments about Alex Jones or about Mike Adams or the Health Ranger, you should, in your mind, a red flag should go up where you say at least 50% of those negative comments are not real people. They're algorithms.
And then it creates a snowball effect where weaker people then regurgitate it.
Right, because there's all these psychological forces in place, the sheeple mentality, the herd mentality, and it's very real. People want to follow the crowd. So what they do is they use these algorithms to try to create a fake crowd that then susceptible people with weak minds.
It's internet astroturf. Stay there. Yes. We're going to come back and get into the 10 outrageous but true facts about vaccines the CDC and the vaccine industry doesn't want you to know about. I just shot out the link at Real Alex Jones on Twitter. Mike Adams, our guest, and your phone calls are coming up. Stay with us.
InfoWarsStore.com, a conscious and involved distributor of independently made products that support a healthy and aware community. Dive into cleaner waters with your own ProPure system and Pro 1D filter. Save 10% with the promo code WATER. We've handpicked a veritable treasure trove of the best non-GMO seed banks on the market. And our selection of films showcases a wealth of knowledge outdone only by our books. Check for combo packs to multiply your savings. Wear your colors proudly with one of these conversation starters. Now available in pink. Get prepared and fund the revolution at InfoWarsStore.com.
By the way, there's been some new big scientific discoveries and developments. We're going to get into those with Mike and then into vaccines here in just a moment as a real public service emergency announcement of facts. But look at this article out of Wired Magazine, since Mike mentioned that. They've had bots for about 5 years I know of writing fake news. Okay, that way you put out talking points, but to make it look like there's diversity, a computer then basically scrambles it, but you can't tell the computer wrote it in most cases. We've then talked to people in the industry that write, and they say they've been replaced. They're like these link farm folks that just write these, these jumbled articles on top web searches. Well, now computers are replacing that, but the CIA invests in narrative science and its automated writers. Again, to just create nom de plumes, fake people. Because humans might have a conscience and want to tell you the truth. So now they actually have articles coming out where basically people are told by an editor a talking point, here's what you write about, and then a human reconstructs it, but still some truth might get out. And so they want it to be done by robots. So that's the future we face. That's why they want the military to go to drones and combat robots and things, because they won't refuse the illegal criminal order. This is what the technocracy is about. Now, you were just telling me about, and we're pulling it up to show viewers, because I remember seeing this yesterday as well and meant to get to it, kind of like they just discovered new life forms 37 miles up in the atmosphere. I mean, it's just stuff's getting crazy.
That's wild. Crazy.
I mean, and it's just going to speed up towards the singularity. Break down what you just got into dealing with DNA.
Well, I didn't bring all of the documents on this, but this is so huge, and this has huge implications for forensic in police work. Many people who've been accused of crimes may be innocent because of what I'm about to tell you. Throughout the history of science and genetics, it has been assumed that your genetic code is identical across all of your cells. So if they take a sample of your hair, or a sample of your skin, or a sample of your saliva, or even a sample of your liver, for that matter, that your cells are going to have the same exact genetic code. It turns out this is false. That you have genomic divergence across your physiology, across your phenotype. In other words, your expression of genes is different because your genes are actually different in your own body. So
yeah, you might have small hands and big feet.
And they may be because of different genes on one side versus the other. This happens very early in fetus development, that you can have genetic divergence, basically, at a very early stage, and then that gets multiplied and multiplied. So your heart organ may have a different genotype, different genetic code than your hand. And this has just been scientifically proven. It is shocking. Most scientists hearing this will say, I'm making it up. It can't be true. This is completely false. But no, science has to be rewritten. And this is the message here, Alex, that so much of what's coming out today means that science has to be rewritten. We have to move forward and understand new ideas and not get stuck in the old ideas. I just did an article about the TED conferences and TEDx, where they had posted a story that said anybody talking about GMOs has to be red flagged. and they banned a talk by Dr. Rupert Sheldrake on consciousness, and they banned a talk by Graham Hancock.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're total New World Order.
Absolutely, absolutely. But they said that if you talk about foods as medicine, then you are a, quote, health hoaxer. So they're stuck in this flat earth.
Linus Pauling won the Nobel Prize for that.
Of course, yeah.
Orange peels.
Vitamin C is very, very therapeutic.
I want you to get back into that because you mentioned this genetic thing. I want to go back before I forget to get into this.
Carried off.
They said, no. They said that, 96% of the DNA was junk. Now they've gone in. That's why all these top geneticists that have these super high-power electron microscopes are becoming religious now and saying somebody made this because there's like all these other genomes of other animals in there, and there's all these other people in there, and it's got like little antennas to receive. I mean, it is, the people are like going, whoa, it's all being used. It's all going on. And it's amazing.
Well, the human genetic code, it's interesting. Scientists, they think they understand the cosmos, but they don't understand the 96%, which is dark matter and dark energy. They have no clue about that. All of this table of elements that I have here, of which all matter in our world and our cosmos is made of, according to the scientists, this is only 4%. Alex, of the material universe. The other 96% is unknown, just like in...
That's right. With our devices, not just our senses, we can't even detect it.
Right.
And we've only just invented devices that can detect it.
And you have scientists that are out there saying, well, the universe, there was this Big Bang followed by inflation, and it became a whole universe, a cosmos, from nothing without cause. Therefore, there's no God. Huh? What? Wait a minute. Who started the Big Bang? Who seeded the cosmos? And then you've got whole issues about the multiverse, right? That we are one universe of many multiverses, all with the creator, an engineer, you could say, from a technical perspective, who created this. There has to be a cause to create an entire universe. It doesn't happen from nothing. It's obvious.
Well, exactly. It's like saying in the middle of a Sahara desert, a fine Swiss wristwatch over time would be blown together. Everyone knows that's impossible. And then a cell is literally billions of times more complex. And then we've got all these different cell groups, almost like a jellyfish is really a composite organism, a colony. We're really a colony. But then we're energized by an energy force that the science is now showing in all the studies. That's what you'd call a spirit.
Right, exactly.
A space-time continuum.
Presence, consciousness, and so on. Also realize in the history of science, they said up until, I don't know the exact date, but until the era of microbiology, they said there is no such thing as bacteria. Disease can't be spread by bacteria. And those scientists were crazy who said so.
Exactly.
But today, we have more cells in our bodies, Alex, that are bacteria than human cells. We are a hybrid organism. And in fact, there's new science being done right now on the genetic expression of the bacteria in your gut being more important for your health.
And of course, Bill Gates already knew that, and they've been targeting us with the GMO all along.
And the antibiotics.
Hacking the brain through the stomach.
And genetically hacking your intestinal flora through GMOs, which are believed to be transgenic.
Well, it's now been admitted. It came out this year. It's now leaking into the DNA.
Right, altering the DNA of your gut bacteria. There was a story that just came out today. A man had his gut infected with a yeast infection, and he was brewing beer in his own gut and getting drunk without drinking. And
that's what's happening with the autistic kids in many of the spectrums, is that they actually have toxic garbage growing in them.
Yes, and it's all made worse by this corporate-driven or corporate hijacked, quote, science, which is not real science. It's just a way to exploit the human body, like in the Matrix, for control and for profit and to doom humanity. That's what's the big picture here. If we're going to save humanity, we have to move forward. We have to get past this hijacking of
Mike, you're on fire.
Sorry,
No, you're always on fire, but what'd you go up on top of the mountain or something?
No, I just had a normal day, a normal chocolate avocado smoothie like I always have, and I'm passionate about this.
You're seething with power, Lord Vader.
Humanity is in danger, Alex. You know this as well as anybody. We have to get past this. But let me get back to the vaccines, because I know
you can feel the awakening, can't you?
Absolutely. We are right now, we as a society are poisoning our children with what's in vaccines.
We're going to cover the vaccines, but look, Chris Jordan's wife brought this up. They're rockhounds. It looks just like it does in your periodic table here of elements.
Yep.
There is the loving fluorine, the little cube Borg. That's what it is, microscopic cubes that the globalists are injecting into us.
This is a calcium fluoride rock, and the only reason it's safe and the only reason we're not dead right now being in the room with this element is because, you notice I said before that
it's bound.
That it is bound to the calcium, which is over here on the other side. Calcium has two electron clouds in its outer orbital shell. It binds with the fluoride. Calcium, things on that side of the table bind with things on this side of the table. Essentially, it's a general trend.
So it is good to take calcium to bind up that?
Well, it can, but it's better to take iodine to compete with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So the nascent iodine is really the best way, but you should avoid fluoride, period. Avoidance is a lot of the strategy here of everything we talk about. But also notice right here in the middle of the table, you have zinc, cadmium, and mercury. These are all in the same column. Mercury is highly toxic, highly neurotoxic. Cadmium is a highly toxic element, a heavy metal that's now being found in many foods, including some of the tests we're doing are showing it in brown rice, including organic brown rice is having a variety of levels of cadmium. But zinc is a nutritive element. So sometimes in these tables, you see something you need, like zinc, on top of something you don't need, like cadmium. So if you take more zinc, guess what? You're helping to block the absorption of cadmium and the absorption.
So it's not just important to take this stuff because you need it. You need to block the other stuff.
Defensive eating. This is something that I'm really hot on right now. Defensive eating. If you go out and you eat shrimp in a restaurant, most shrimp will have some level of mercury in it. But you can take activated charcoal capsules that will absorb the mercury from the shrimp. So you can actually go out and you can have a meal that you enjoy. I enjoy eating seafood too, you know, but I take chlorella and I take activated charcoal and I know that I'm not absorbing the mercury in the shrimp. It's defensive eating, just like defensive driving. It works.
Sounds pretty extremist.
I know. To
being informed and involved?
Yeah.
That sounds extreme.
Pretty crazy.
But I bet you even know how to read.
Yeah.
I bet you think women should breastfeed.
It's one of my tenets of nutrition, yes. Yeah.
That's Al-Qaeda right there.
Seriously.
Oh, no, Al-Qaeda's the good guys now. So I can't say, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you make of the whole war imploding and everything? For now.
Well, I haven't covered it that much because I've been focused on these areas. But I'll say, in my opinion, when Obama said that raising the debt ceiling doesn't increase the debt, that right there, that was the final quote of the final chapter of the American empire going down in flames financially.
I think they are the ones going crazy, believing their own.
And we're looking at the reason, Alex. Again, let's go back to the table of elements. We have lead here. We have cadmium. We have mercury. We have aluminum, which at very high levels can also alter brain physiology. This is the reason, one of my main theories right now of what's causing the insanity in our world.
No, it's like the Romans. The Romans,
yes.
The Romans, of course, lined their clay pots with lead.
And the aqueducts.
And that was towards the middle and the end. Their decline began when that happened.
Absolutely.
They were stark, raving mad, and lead makes you violent.
Lead makes you crazy. It makes you violent. Cadmium destroys kidney function. It gives you heart disease. You look at all of these elements. Mercury makes you crazy. Mercury gives you a lobotomy.
But CBS said it improves their brain, children.
And they're victims of mercury too. See, that's the other thing, and you've said this before, the reframing of all of this. The people that we are trying to save in the Matrix are also victims of the Matrix. So we have to be careful too, and I realize this too. Sometimes I might go too far and attack victims of the system. You know, sometimes I call people morons if they're scientists who don't get all this. And sometimes I have to step back from that and realize they're victims too. They've been brain damaged.
Well, remember before you were awake, you didn't have any of the pieces, so none of it made sense. Once you start getting a few pieces, then it accelerates.
Yeah.
But we were once as dumb as dirt.
Absolutely. I was raised on a standard American diet. I took antibiotics. I ate, you know, all these heavy metals at one time. And by the way, this takes a very concerted effort to get these out of your system. Cadmium has a 27-year half-life in the body. Lead stays in your bones. You got a lot of elderly women who are now recycling bone mass. They're losing bone mass. Their bone mass is being depleted and going into the blood.
That's why they're going crazy.
They're going crazy because the lead is coming out of their bones now for the first time in their lives. The lead is going from the bones into the blood. Now the lead in the blood gets into the brain, makes them crazy. That's where you get the syndrome of mean old women. This is exactly where it comes from. And also pregnant women out there need to understand that your first child becomes really the dumping ground for a lot of the toxicity that your body has stored up. So if you're not cleaning your body and getting rid of all these elements and heavy metals and toxic chemicals, your first child is usually the most messed up because of this.
That's right.
And then the second child comes.
That's like people exposed to Agent Orange. The first kid was always
absolutely
just devastated, and then they got better as you went.
Because the wisdom of the body, Alex, is amazing. Mother Nature is amazing. The woman, the mother, her body is trying to get rid of this stuff for any way possible, through the skin, through respiration, through feces, through urination, but also by dumping it into the fetus. And this is something that modern scientists and modern doctors just completely deny. They're living in total delusion world. They deny all of this, and as a result, our children are being poisoned every
That's right, because in a genetic evolutionary way, and we don't mean the establishment evolution, but the clear development, it's more important for the woman to survive to make a bunch of kids than even the first one.
Exactly.
So
the male can be a lot more toxic because the sperm doesn't carry the load of heavy metals into the fetus, not at all. The sperm is really just digital information. It's the woman's body that provides the nourishment, the blood supply, the actual blood.
And her eggs have to last 40 years.
And if she has a female developing inside of her, she is also creating the eggs that female will use to create the next generation. So it's daughter and granddaughter.
And the mitochondrial transmission as well.
The epigenetics, all of that, right on. So we right now...
Well, isn't it really true from science that a woman is actually the human and then men are just a competitive manifestation?
I've heard that description before, and I think some men do exist only for the sake of their sperm.
No, but men are meant to be competitive, go out, do everything as the strength of the species.
Yeah, I say that jokingly.
Exactly, but that's the entire competitiveness.
Yeah, well, the male-female interaction is interesting from a physiological perspective. Males are the protectors, are the ones to provide the safety so the female can create future life. And the male is there to create genetic diversity as well, just from a pure genetics point of view. But again, we are living in a system right now, Alex, where it's already too late for grandchildren of today's pregnant women. It's already too late. They're already damaged.
That's right. That's right. By third generation,
yes,
in just the GMO studies of the rats, they're done. So basically, that's why they have to get world tyranny in, because in another 20 years, you're going to have 80% of people dying.
If you cleaned up vaccines today and took all the mercury out and all the formaldehyde out, which is another neurotoxin I didn't even mention, if you took all that out today, you would still have children damaged from vaccines for 2 or 3 more generations from now. This is a sobering thought, and it's absolutely true. We are past the point of saving humanity from this devastation. The Holocaust is here, and we're going to feel it for 3 more generations.
And that's why the globalists actually even talk about that. They did it on purpose. And so they just say, we're going to wipe you out, and they think science will rebuild some new human.
Yeah, right. Kurzweil style. They kill your physical body, copy your brain into a machine, and say you're still alive. You're not still alive. Your soul is long gone, man. Even if they could copy your brain, your soul is gone. The spirit is what makes you alive.
Well, it's been shown that in clones. You give me the exact genetics with no mistakes, and it just fails to operate. It is not animated.
It's like nobody's home. Just because without the spirit, you're not human. You know, and this idea of consciousness is so dangerous to the establishment. This idea is the key to freeing humanity, in my opinion. Consciousness, the idea that we are created from a greater consciousness, a greater power, that we have free will, that we have intelligence, that we have...
Well, sure, just from a scientific perspective of the studies that are coming out, it's almost like the intergalactic space wind, that all this spectrum is energizing and resonating with us.
Yes, I would agree. We are not, even quantum physics proves that we are not separate from everything else in the universe. The science is built on the idea of scientific experimentation, which says the observer is independent and separate from the experiment. Quantum physics proves that that's not true.
They don't even know why, that when they watch something with a telescope now, they've done the math, it's affecting it 1 trillion miles away.
Yes. Because they now have teleportation of information faster than the speed of light, which was thought to be impossible. Alex, all these things we're talking about here, science has to be rewritten. There is more mystery to the universe.
Well, the scientists, the top ones know this. They're there to give us a false science.
That's right.
And keep people down because they've got us in a prison. Let's get into vaccines straight ahead. Powerful info with the Health Ranger, Mike Adams.
Hi, this is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, with some news about some new additions to the InfoWars store. You know, good health is freedom. When you're healthy, you're not a slave to the medical system. Everything works well, your brain, your body, even your spirit. You're a healthier person. And to help support that great health, Alex has asked me to source the cleanest, most potent superfoods and other similar products in the world and bring them to the InfoWars store. So we've done that. The brand name is Health Ranger Select, and we're starting out right now with these 3 products. We've got Himalayan salt from Pakistan, formed hundreds of thousands of years ago in an ancient seabed long before modern pollution destroyed much of the oceans. This is loaded with trace minerals, and it's pristine, true, full-spectrum sea salt. We've also got Natural Attitude Turmeric. It's an extract of turmeric, very potent, tastes great, alcohol-free. This is from organic turmeric out of India. And we've also got Clean Chlorella. And we sourced and did research on all the chlorella sources around the world, and we found the 2 cleanest sources that have the lowest levels of any kind of contaminants. In fact, this one is virtually free of all metals and all contaminants. It's called Clean Chlorella, and it's about 2/3 protein, and it's got chlorophyll and chlorella growth factor in it. Check it out online. It's an amazing superfood that athletes are using and people are using to help support healthy lifestyles. It's fantastic. This is all packaged in our certified organic facility here in Central Texas. There we follow USDA certified standards, and we're audited every year by the USDA certifier to make sure that we comply with all organic standards. That, combined with the fact that we only source super clean superfoods and raw materials from around the world, means that our products represent the cleanest and most potent products that you'll find across the natural products industry. Check all of these out under the Health Ranger Select brand name at the InfoWars store, InfoWarsStore.com. And we'll be bringing you more of these in the near future. Thanks and take care.
Mike Adams, getting back to you, let's go into why we originally got you here.
Right.
10 outrageous but true facts about vaccines the CDC and the vaccine industry doesn't want you to know about.
So, yeah, this is an article that I did that really ruffled a lot of feathers in the vaccine, the pro-vaccine, movement, not a movement, but corporate science whores.
The eugenics movement.
Yeah, the eugenics movement. But people need to know the real facts about vaccines, and they are. The CDC, on their website, they still openly admit that vaccines contain these elements.
And will kill you, and can kill you.
And can kill you. There was a big story that just came out recently about one of these big pharmacies that has a vaccine. It's called a high-dose flu shot for senior citizens. And the high-dose flu shot on their website, I'm not going to mention their name, but on their website, they say it has little to no side effects. But if you actually look at the insert that's posted by the FDA, it says, wait a minute, this could kill you. This could cause neurological
Guillain-Barré and epilepsy.
It's all mentioned in there, yes. And 23 senior citizens died within a couple of months after taking the vaccine, but they said, well, this isn't related.
Why not just euthanize them?
I think this is a soft euthanization strategy, clearly, but it's also a lobotomization strategy. Now, getting back to the list, though, it's important. Vaccines are an important part of population control in the sense of making sure people don't get too intelligent. If you can lobotomize or deactivate a portion of their brain, and I know you've covered this, through vaccines, then you can prevent people from asking questions. Now, asking questions is the basis of liberty. If you stop people from asking questions, you stop liberty.
It's the essence of evil.
Yeah, right. So these metals that are in vaccines, that are added to vaccines on purpose.
Nutrients.
Right, to make the vaccines have a stronger reaction, these are so toxic that they were, of course, researched by Nazi scientists. And by the way, just as a side note, the sodium fluoride, because we talk about fluorine, sodium fluoride is the agent that the British press was reporting when they said the UK government authorized the sale of nerve gas chemicals to Syria. If you look at the reports, those nerve gas chemicals were sodium fluoride. So sodium fluoride is the basis of nerve gas. And
you mean vitamin gas?
Yeah, right. So if you take sodium fluoride and through chemistry you can break apart the elements, you can get fluorine, and then you can use fluorine to make deadly nerve gas. So in essence, the British press was admitting that the same chemical that's put into the Austin water supply is called a chemical weapons ingredient that was sold to Syria with great alarm. So just so that everybody knows, this is the same thing we're talking about here. You're drinking raw materials for chemical weapons. And these were developed by Nazi scientists. That's where it all came from. The IG Farben under Hitler, these were developed by Nazi scientists.
Why are you being racist now? That's
who eventually went on to be convicted of war crimes, the chairperson of Bayer, the pharmaceutical company.
same folks that put HIV in the vaccine on purpose.
Yes, same
very loving.
Who make children's aspirin. So just so you know, and I couldn't say this if it weren't true.
Oh, no, we've got NBC reports where they got convicted in France knowingly putting it in the factor 8. But what's wrong with that? You're racist if you don't kill hemophiliacs.
But not only is this poisoning our children, our parents are being denied due process in courts because the so-called secret vaccine court is higher than the Supreme Court in the United States, according to the Supreme Court's own decision.
It's the eugenics court.
The eugenics court. So there's no due process. There's no...
Just like family courts were set up 100 years ago for eugenics. That's how they sterilize people. This is a whole eugenics world. Stay there. We're going to come back and get into the breaking news at naturalnews.com. It's also on Infowars.com, inside Whole Foods.
Hello, this is Hank Hill, and I'm telling you what, you need to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah. Infowars.com.
Judge, what is the secret of the universe?
Infowars.com.
All right, we're into overdrive here. Some stations don't carry it. I'm going to go to Tim and Chris and Marty and Livia. Am I pronouncing that right? Livia. I can't even read now anymore from 10 feet away. And then Michael, we'll get to you in the next segment. I appreciate you holding. Mike Adams is going to ride shotgun with us till 20 after, and he's going to do another radio broadcast. Mike, get into the Whole Foods investigation.
Okay, so the group called Organic Spies had released a big video last year where they showed Whole Foods employees on camera saying that Whole Foods did not sell any GMOs at all. And that was big news. It was false information because Whole Foods sells all kinds of GMOs. And it forced Whole Foods into a position where they had to actually issue public relations statements and admit, yeah, we sell lots of GMOs. We don't even know how many GMOs we sell. That's one of their quotes because it's everywhere. And then they announced that they're going to have GMO labeling requirements by 2018. But in that, they denied that they had trained their employees to lie about GMOs. That was their denial. Well, today, Organic Spies has issued a new video that we posted because YouTube will censor it if you post it on YouTube. So we posted it over on Natural News. This video features a woman who describes herself as a former Whole Foods employee. And I've seen documentation firsthand that seems to confirm that. I did some due diligence with this witness. And she is saying that she was trained, that the actual training of new employees at Whole Foods involved them being taught that Whole Foods sells no GMOs.
You mean whole paycheck?
Whole paycheck, right. In addition to that, Organic Spies alleges that Whole Foods is a, quote, organic fraud machine because they have been certified as a, quote, certified organic grocer by CCOF. And this is misleading people, they say, into thinking that everything the store sells is organic.
Well, they have it painted on the side of some of the stores that everything is organic.
Or nothing artificial.
Yeah.
The big slogan, I think. And that's a false slogan as well because GMOs are, by definition, artificial. So Whole Foods is, once again, appears to be caught in quite some big deceptions here. Now,
and it's almost worse than the guys that openly push GMO because they're acting like they're not.
Well, exactly. A lot of people go to Whole Foods and they think that everything Whole Foods sells, even at the buffet, they have a nice salad bar, that looks very beautiful. But many of the ingredients in their salad bar are GMO and not organic. So Whole Foods store sells a lot of foods grown with pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified ingredients, and yet they can mislead people into thinking that everything they sell is pure and pristine.
And this is the only way the establishment could win, because if we vote with our dollars and only buy organic and quality stuff, it will convert the market, take over, and heal us. But if they can then camouflage it, then they win, and then it's a double ripoff.
Right, and Whole Foods is really masterful at using what I call fuzzy language to try to create this warm and fuzzy feeling, but then what they're actually saying doesn't stand up. So we actually have, I think we have a video segment here that has this witness, this former Whole Foods employee testifying on camera what happened. If you've got that.
Yeah, let's roll that clip.
First or second day, all the team members are given a general information guide, and it's called the Gig Book, and it's kind of like a guide for the team members if they have any questions. When we first started, we had it's called a day 1 and a day 2, and they teach us about the core values of Whole Foods Market, the core values of nothing artificial, everything's natural. I think it's in their advertising too, that nothing ever artificial. When I first started at Whole Foods, I didn't know what a GMO was. I had no idea what it was. They taught us what it was and how Whole Foods Market did not carry GMOs.
There you go. That's
So
it.
if a customer would have came up to me.
They taught us what it was, and they taught us that Whole Foods Market did not carry.
And then she goes on, if a customer came over, we were telling them they didn't.
Exactly. So this was
We need to get somebody to go get a job there and record it all.
They're not doing it anymore, I don't think. This stopped in 2012, I believe.
Yeah.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
Finishing up with Whole Foods, I'm not trying to pick on Whole Foods here. I've had a minority of people say, hey, at least they're trying, leave them alone. If I go spend money there, and it's so Orwellian now that when I go there, like every few weeks with my wife, she goes a couple times a week, but I go every few weeks with her and the kids, people walk over and go, this was a wise choice. And I thought the first few times this happened earlier this year that it was a fluke. Then I went to other Whole Foods around town. Depending on where we're at, we'll pull in and get some stuff because we're trying to only feed non-GMO organic stuff to our children. We're really trying. And because it's immoral if we don't, but I don't know how average families pay for this stuff. And this is like hurting us. It costs so much. And then you figure out there's a bunch of manipulation going on. But what's this weird social thing when they walk over and go, good choice? And it's like a Soviet re-education camp.
Well, from what I've been told by former Whole Foods employees, they are trained to treat customers as if they're visiting some kind of a luxury spa. You know, it's a positive sort of vibe. You're supposed to reinforce the customer's purchasing decision there at Whole Foods. And I don't have any problem with that. That's whatever, that's fine. But my issue is that Whole Foods needs to be more transparent and more honest about the nature of the foods that they're selling and the training that they're given to employees. And I'm glad Whole Foods exists. You know, I shop there from time to time as well. But I also know how to look for the difference between GMO and non-GMO, and a lot of people don't. So many people can be easily deceived if these claims like certified organic grocer, a big sign on the wall with a USDA symbol.
Well, my point is then they ought to have sections, and I know they kind of do, where this side of the store really is right, and this side isn't. But they don't. Right. They want to overcharge you because if they get non-GMO stuff, they have to pay more for it, but they can get the GMO, non-organic, kind of fool you mixing it together. Right. It's about ripping you off.
It's the fuzzy language again. They use a lot of fuzzy language. They say they have a sign that says something like, quality matters. Every product in our store is carefully considered.
And selected.
Carefully selected or evaluated. Well, you know, the same could be said for a porn shop. I mean, that doesn't mean
we carefully select the gun we shoot you in the head with.
I mean, that claim, anybody can make that claim. You know, it doesn't mean anything. A pesticide retailer could say, we carefully evaluate all our pesticides. That doesn't mean anything. This is fuzzy language. There are other stores that say, we don't sell produce grown with pesticides, like Natural Grocers, I think, is one of them. And that's the kind of claim that we like to see. We like to see, if I walk in the door, everything there, man, every produce, every vegetable, every fruit is organic. And then I don't have to think about it. I want to have that level of trust in a retailer so I can walk in and just shop and don't have to evaluate everything like a lab technician, you know?
And by the way, Aaron Dykes and Melissa Melton's InfoWars investigation last year really spurred a lot. Your investigation did, because you have high-level sources. We're going to calls momentarily. It's really shaken them up, and that's good. It shows that real alternative media has an effect.
Organic Spies is playing a very important role in society, just like InfoWars and Natural News. We are the organizations that force corporations to behave with the ethics that they should behave with on their own, but often do not.
Yeah, but how does YouTube and Whole Foods censor that when you're allowed to talk to a former employee?
YouTube censorship is highly selective and completely done without merit. They censor, you know, they get a letter from a corporation to take something down that they don't like, and they take it down. You know, YouTube is a vehicle of mass censorship.
And it's getting worse.
It's getting worse. And what's really worrisome is that they're censoring information that is in the public interest. So the reports that you put out, that I put out, that Organic Spies just did, this is in the public interest to know this. This is what the First Amendment is based on, is the public has a right to know.
Yeah, these YouTube employees, when they get an order and they go look at something and it's a thing about Whole Foods lying about stuff being organic, I mean, we should get awards for these reports.
Absolutely.
Not censored.
Yes. No.
I mean, if Whole Foods thinks we're lying, sue us. That's what you've got to do to take something down. Prove it in court. Come on.
Right. And they can't, because we actually conduct a lot of due diligence, just like your reporters do. We actually do more research. When I say we, I mean the alternative new media, like your organization of mine. We do more research than the mainstream media by far, orders of magnitude more. They just copy and paste. They take a White House press release, copy, paste it, put their name on it, boom, it's out there in the press. We do original research. We do due diligence. We check our facts. We do laboratory studies. We do hidden camera interviews. This is real journalism, Alex. This is why InfoWars, Natural News, many others out there who are doing this, we are the new media.
Exactly. What do you make of Feinstein coming out? And oh, we're going to protect journalists, and it gets rid of the First Amendment for everybody but their lapdogs.
That was her attack on Matt Drudge. That was expressly targeting Matt Drudge. They're trying to say he's not a journalist. Are you kidding me? Matt Drudge is one of the great American journalists in history.
That's why the Pentagon said they're worried about Drudge and other big sites like InfoWars, because if something comes out, they can't control it.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly the basis of liberty. We need sources of information that they can't control. And we've got it. And we need to fight to defend.
And we're not just as good as the Washington Post or New York Times. They've all been proven to be paid off in lying.
Yeah.
We are better.
Absolutely. Qualitatively better, ethically
Instead
better.
of just saying we're as good, because I've been given that advice, it's true, we are as good. No, we are better.
We serve a higher role in society.
We break more big news. We've got a track record of not being paid off.
Right, right, exactly. We don't take money from vaccine companies. I know you don't. We don't take money.
They could offer me $1 billion and I wouldn't take it.
No, because being involved in the mass poisoning of children, a chemical holocaust that's injected into children, is not something that I would...
My dad, as a medical manager, got offered a job for a company in healthcare management where he'd made 3 times more money. It had vaccines involved, and he's now so informed on this, he turned it down.
Good for him. That's what we have to do. Because
but it's not even a decision. I am not going to be involved hurting people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, history, by the way, will prove us correct. History will show that the mass chemical holocaust of our children and our population, and I'm not talking about just vaccines, but even the things in the food, the medicine, the synthetic chemicals, that was an era of destruction where humanity very nearly destroyed itself. And I'm hoping humanity survives this so that we can write the history books.
You're right.
But
by the way, we're going to the bottom of the hour. If you need to do that show here, too, because I know you got to do a show, you can use our studio. But we're going to skip the network break and go to these calls now. Tim, Chris, Marty, everybody that's patiently holding. This is so historical what's happening. And you're right. But some people go, wow, you know, your dad got offered triple the money by a company, but a big part of it would have been pushing vaccines. So he said no. Wow, most people would just take it. Folks,
right.
By the way, I know there's some evidence that you can get acquired immunity through vaccines. It's a 500-year-old technology going back to smallpox. But then there's all the evidence that it gives you other immune system problems, you name it. It's but it's these companies. Exactly. Exactly. People say, "Oh, you don't believe in science." These companies are a bunch of eugenicists.
Well,
I mean,
if they could have just the virus that they're trying to give you immunity to, just that one virus and not the 50 other hidden viruses that are in the vaccine, and if they take the mercury out and they take these other things out, I would not necessarily, I couldn't be as animated against it.
It needs to be more studied. There shouldn't be some secret court.
Safe.
Well, exactly. But plus, the elites all get special vaccines no one else can get.
Clean vaccines.
Yeah, they call them clean vaccines. Right. But I want those.
The masses get mercury vaccines, and that's on purpose.
That's the ruling corrupt eugenics class who's been caught doing all these secret murderous tests.
Yep.
hitting us. I mean, they are attacking us. And they are shooting bullets into little children's brains with these shots. And I'll go further. With a grand jury, with courts, with the evidence of the history, I think the people that are pushing this and designed it should be executed. I don't think they should just be arrested. Well, I think the Bayer pharmaceutical executives for a decade that knowingly put HIV and hepatitis in millions of people's factor 8, I think they should be tried, convicted, and hung.
I think they should just be injected with 10,000 of their own vaccines and see what happens.
That's a good idea.
If they're
death by vaccine, have a big machine,
right.
we're like 200 needles.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, if they safe and effective, we'll see.
Exactly.
You know they're going to die. You know they're going to die.
Of course.
I mean, you put 40 vaccines in a kid by the time they're 1. Let's give these executives 200 shots. I guarantee you they're going to die right there.
They will die because if you eat mercury, you don't absorb most of it. Digestion actually takes care of it, protects you from it.
That's a great idea.
But if you inject mercury into the muscle tissue, which is where it's injected, 100% of that mercury goes into your blood. Well, very nearly.
Almost all of it.
Yeah, 99 point whatever, into your bloodstream. This bypasses all the protections that your body has. This is bypassing nature's self-defense for your body.
I think that's a good idea. How about these executives? Piers Morgan took the flu shot and then
got sick.
And literally they thought he was going to die.
Yeah, he got really sick from one shot, man. Imagine, I mean, I thought about doing this.
Yeah, I talked to him in private, at the thing, and after they said, oh, you're right. He's like, you're right about shots, by the way. Because now he knows. He took it, and 2 days later almost started dying for 3 weeks.
We should offer a pharmaceutical executive $1,000 a shot to take 1,000 vaccine shots. That's $1 million to take 1,000 vaccine shots all at once, which they insist is perfectly safe.
They've said 1,000 shots would be safe.
They said 100,000 would be safe.
Hey, wait, that professor, we ought to say just 1,000.
Yeah, just take
1 day, you get $1 million.
Yeah. We should offer them $1 million to take 1,000 shots, but they have to be the same vials that you can go get at CVS pharmacy or the.
Well, they'll say that's too much volume in the body. Let's give them a week to take them. You know they're going to die. They're going to die. What? Probably after 200.
If they don't die, they're going to be severely brain damaged, kidney damaged, and liver damaged from the mercury. They're going to be damaged in so many.
Oh man, I know troops when they give them like 10 shots who have convulsions. They'll kill them.
Yeah, they'll probably convulse and die. You're right. They'll probably go into a coma right there on the spot. But I think that would be a great challenge to issue, to say we offer $1 million to any vaccine company executive that will take 1,000 vaccine shots within, let's say, give them 72 hours to take 1,000 shots and see if they live. If they live, I'll be amazed. I'll be amazed.
Oh, they'll die. I think they will go into cardiac arrest. I mean, they'll stop it after
they start convulsing.
Well, yeah, I bet after like 30 shots they start dying. I mean,
I don't know. Maybe they could take 100, but they're going to suffer real long-term damage. Because also remember, children are more susceptible than adults. So we're talking about an adult here that is.
But wait, if we ever defeat the eugenicist and all the documents come out and we have big trials and everything, we could create sort of an electric chair, an injection chair
with vaccines.
And I'm not into torture, but like kill them with their own vaccines. That's a great idea.
It could be a very effective.
Like an Iron Maiden, but like 1,000 needles, and you just slam it shut, hit the button.
Oh, man. Oh, man, yeah. And just use off-the-shelf vials, the ones that they're giving the population.
Well, that would be terrorism to give them the shots. That's only for us.
I went to CVS, and I asked to buy a vial of the flu shot. I said, I want to buy the vaccine. They said, great. Just go back to the pharmacy. I said, no, I want to buy a vial of the vaccine. They said, you can't buy that. I said, why? They said, that's a controlled substance. So wait a minute.
They don't want you putting it under an electron microscope.
Exactly. You can buy an injection of it, but you can't buy the vial because it's so dangerous that it's controlled? Really? What am I going to do with it?
Well, they caught him. We got to go to calls. I'm hogging.
Sorry.
Everything. Oh, look, there's the CVS worker.
Oh, that's the perfect vaccine weapon.
Freddy Krueger.
Crazy, man.
All right, let's go to
Krueger, the vaccine spokesman.
Oh, man. Let's talk to Tim. Tim, you're on the air. Thanks for holding. We'll go to Chris and everybody else. I apologize. I'm hogging Mike here. Go ahead, Tim.
Krueger. Are you there, Alex?
Yeah, I am. Go ahead.
Hey, man, just we'll keep it real quick. First-time caller, long-time listener, but we've come a long way in the last 10 years, the last decade, with marijuana and the marijuana laws and the medical
well, actually,
marijuana.
it's gotten worse. They act like they're legalizing it. They're taking people's kids everywhere when they have an MD prescribed in Colorado and California for glaucoma. They take your child to the CPS torture chamber. That's CBS News. And so, I mean, that's really horrible stuff going on, right? Everybody should know. Okay, and by the way, about a third of the time they have false positives. They're taking a lot of kids when you go in to have a baby or surgery or whatever, false positives. And they don't care. They're going to take your kid.
Yeah.
They want to get them, and they want to murder them as quickly as possible with vaccines.
There's also a lot of false positives in the AIDS world, HIV test.
Oh, yeah, that's all a giant scam.
Of you know, having HIV and infecting someone else, and a lot of that's totally false.
Well, there's a lot of viruses that mimic it, sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir. Your point about the medical marijuana thing.
I had seen a video this morning on the news up in Michigan where a gentleman that had been from the state, been given right to grow marijuana medically for his MS and his epilepsy, and they went and they took a judge signed a paper to take a kid.
I know. Sir. I'm at restaurants in Barton Springs, and all I hear is people going, they took my brother's kid, or they took my kid, and people have no survival instincts. Like, well, I guess that's the end of the kid. Yeah, I went and had a blood test for insurance, and they found marijuana. Folks, you don't just go to jail now. They kidnap your kids. The government is run by satanic pedophiles.
And when they kidnap them, what do? They inject them with all this.
And give them 7 psychotropics until they murdering filth of hell. God bless you, Tim. Let's talk to Chris in Deutschland. You're on the air, sir. Go ahead.
Hello, Alex.
Hello, you're on the air, sir.
Hello. My name is Chris. I'm from Germany. I'm listening to your show since 2 years, and I really enjoy it.
Well, God bless you, sir. Oh, yeah, they've outlawed homeschooling there, and when your people flee here, Holder grabs them and ships them back to have the children taken.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. One of my hardest questions would be, how about you accuse the United Nations? I mean, what are your 3 reasons against the United Nations?
Well, here's the deal. We see the UN actually doing good now with the Security Council blocking, but that's only because it had a little power in the Security Council, and Russia's always been corrupt and would vote along with the globalists here. Now they're blocking, attacking it, so they're trying to rework that and ignoring it. But the UN was created by the Rockefellers, and it was meant to be a vehicle of evil. But when people are trying to start World War III, you know, sometimes even something set up to do bad stuff can end up being used for good. Mike Adams, your comment on that?
No, I agree with you completely. The UN is a dangerous organization because of the concentration of power in the hands of the few globalists. But as with any such organization, it can occasionally intervene in a positive way.
Broken clocks are right twice a day.
Yeah, right. I don't think their intention is to help humanity. I think they were forced into that position.
Well, look, when you have 91% against something, Congress was forced.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't matter what their garbage does. We, the people, are waking up. But are folks starting to wake up over there in Germany?
Yes, I'm trying to wake them up, and especially with your appearance on Piers Morgan in January this year, I'm going to show my friends, hey, come on, this is a video of a guy who challenges the system, and it shows them your video, Alex, of challenging Piers Morgan, and I started at 2 minutes in, and 90% of my friends, they were listening to the video till the end, because when you were like, Hitler took the guns, Stalin took the guns, etc., they were all fans of it. And
Alex, let's challenge Piers Morgan to 1,000 vaccine shots.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because you know he could.
No. I officially offer him $1 million. He can broadcast from wherever he wants, but I'm going to be there. And every night he'll be given the over 5 nights. He'll be given
so 200 shots a night.
200 shots a night
until he reaches 1,000 or something else happens.
Yeah,
the Piers Morgan vaccine challenge.
And I predict he will collapse in cardiac arrest after 150 shots.
You know, first of all, he's never going to accept this. He almost died from one shot.
No, but this is the kind of stuff that stunts.
Yeah.
We should go to the UN with a complaint of human rights over fluoride in the water as a chemical weapon.
Yes.
And show on the chart how it is.
Yeah.
Show how the Nazis and Soviets put it in the water of work camps. And even if the UN itself is corrupt, you use that stage as a publicity stunt. Well, that's and you go to city council and you just attack and attack and attack and attack and attack from every angle, just viciously never stopping. We'll bring the enemy down.
Well, but I want to make sure this is official. This is not a joke. You're officially offering $1 million to Piers Morgan if he takes 1,000.
Yes, I am offering Piers Morgan an advocate of it. Or any other scientist that vaccine pusher he can find.
Right.
If they want to split it together.
Executive, CEO of Merck.
CEO of Merck. I'll offer him $1 million too.
Right.
To publicly take, but we have to vet it with our third party.
It's gotta be
proof.
regular vaccines, not
live webcam.
Vaccines. Right.
Hell, I'll give them 2 weeks to do it because let me tell you, that'll kill them. 1,000 vaccines will kill them.
I believe that's true.
And of course, the media will spin this. We have all the famous quotes,
right,
Mike, where all these executives say, you could have 1,000, you could have
10,000. One guy says 100,000. That's his quote. That is 100,000 vaccines are safe for children. So let's see if he'll take just a fraction of that himself.
By the way, that's so ridiculous. That's like barrels. 100,000. How many barrels is that?
Well, I think they mean if you combine all the viral elements, they're not talking about, gallons and gallons of saline.
But I mean, there's enough mercury I mean, they've got studies out a decade ago where 3 flu shots in the elderly double Alzheimer's. That's like CBC.
No, the flu shots are devastating. But this is a great. I'm really glad that this happened here today because this is.
How about we lower it? 100 flu shots.
No.
It'll kill him. It'll kill him.
No, I think you got to stick with 1,000 because that's still a fraction of what they say children can take. And 1,000 shots. I mean, you're paying them $1,000 a shot, right? That's a good deal if vaccines are safe. To get $1,000.
That's it. Offer him $1 million to take 1,000.
There you go.
Let's pick a really nasty one. The 500 or flu shot, and
Gardasil.
100 or Gardasil.
Right. A cocktail.
I mean, one of those will kill you. A lot. There it is.
Okay. Yeah. But basically, InfoWars can come up with the cocktail that's part of the offer.
Well, let's make the offer official. 100 Gardasil, 100 Hep B, 500 flu. Okay, so we got 300 more here.
Yeah, do
hepatitis. I don't know. We already did hepatitis. How about meningitis?
Whooping cough and meningitis. Those are both good.
Oh, polio vaccine.
Oh yes, polio. Definitely.
100 of those.
Right.
And they want to give the troops. How about 100 anthrax shots?
Oh, nice.
That is the most deadly, actually.
I like the way you're thinking.
Let's 100 smallpox.
Like a chemist over here. Man.
Exactly. Well, it's safe and effective.
Yeah, 100 it is.
100 anthrax.
Yep.
Oh, neighbor, it's so good to have you here.
But they have to sign a release. They have to sign a release because if they die, they can't come after
100 anthrax, 100 smallpox, 100 flu, 100 Gardasil.
They're gone.
100.
They're gone. Oh, it's history.
Hey, I mean it, and I got it. $1 million. Piers Morgan. 1 million smackers. If you take 1,000 vaccines, I'll give you 2 weeks. You'll be dead before you take 100.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.